We're going to stick to very specific questions, Steve. You say that you think there's evidence for Noah's flood, maybe something about a meteor, et cetera, et cetera. I would like you to let us know specifically, briefly, at a high level, what is the evidence that you suspect supports the idea of a worldwide flood? Go ahead.
Crater impact triggering a tsunami 1,000 years ago.
Okay, so is a crater impact somewhere? Where is the crater?
I have.
It's Burkle. You could anybody Google this online. Burkle crater, South Indian Ocean.
Okay, so a crater in the ocean that you say is dated to 1,000 years ago. You think?
5,000 years ago. Evidence of this is carbon dated sediment deposits.
Okay, hold on. I just want to take it one step at a time because this is scientific evidence. I want to make sure I understand each piece of it. I wasn't audibly hearing the first. Could you start your sentence by saying it was and then how long ago? Because I can't hear if you're saying 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 because the first syllable is dropping. How long ago was this?
5,000 years ago, the same time
Start
frame.
Your sentence with. He's saying 5. Are you hearing 5? Okay,
I'm hearing
5,000 years ago. You believe? Okay, all right. So. Forrest, you're holding your head. You may have some evidence here. My question is, it sounds like a crater is an evidence of a crater. What is your thoughts there, Forrest?
My issue is that we're talking about a global flood for the Noah story, which it's just setting aside the fact that if we're talking about a tsunami, that something hit the ocean so greatly that it created a tsunami where all sorts of water was displaced and it covered all land on the planet to a point where all of the mountains were underwater by 20 feet, which is what the fucking Bible says. But like that doesn't make any sense. But setting that aside, saying that there was an impact of a meteor so great that it caused such a tsunami that it flooded the entire world with one tidal wave, even just for a second, that would be monumentally larger than the meteor that killed the dinosaurs.
Right.
You're talking about a meteor that's so much bigger than what caused the KT extinction. And you're saying it happened 5,000 years ago, which means we would still be experiencing the direct effects of that, still be experiencing mass extinctions from that. No fucking way humans survived that, especially if we're talking about it being a localized event, which only affected this particular area of wherever in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, wherever Noah's Ark was supposed to be found or whatever. Like, no, absolutely. It makes zero sense when you think about it for 2 fucking seconds. That doesn't work, Steve.
I also will add
a boat wouldn't survive that tidal wave either.
Ahead,
so there's no way the Noah story makes any sense.
Yeah, it's just the Noah's every part of the Noah story is nonsense. And now you have the one most fundamental claim is that the entire earth was underwater for a minute, and you're going to blame a meteor on it 5,000 years ago. When I promise you, bro, 5,000 years ago, we had ice caps. We still had a lot of glaciers going on. So that meteor would have had to have melted all of the ice on the planet and also displaced all of the water that in order to cover all the land masses and somehow not cause a mass extinction event beyond the Permian. Like that would have been worse than the Permian mass extinction. That would have been unbelievable. And like you're sitting here saying that, yeah, we found a crater. Neat. Is everything alive? Cool. Yeah. Then no flood didn't happen. The fact that it's just fucking goddamn it, dude. The whole flood, the whole world being underwater would have meant that all of the salt water and all of the fresh water would have been mixed together, which means all of the freshwater things would have died. And they didn't. And also all of the coral reefs that need to be under shallow water also would have died. And they fucking didn't. And also all of the plants and also the desert ecosystems that wouldn't have been able to survive that. 0%. Furthermore, if you're trying to say that like the flood implies the Noah story, that's fucking weird, bro. Because if you're saying that there's one family of 8 people from which all of us are descended just 5,000 years ago, we are a laughably inbred species, but we're not that bad. And what happened to all of the animals that you don't see? What happened to the microbes? What happened to the parasites? who did Noah have unprotected sex with in order to bring trichomoniasis onto the fucking ark to make sure that it's around with us today? Just 0%. No points, no stars. Bad argument as always, Steve.
I will add on top of that. That was a great. I mean, we're gonna. I'm sure we're gonna clip that because that's amazing. But even if you could explain all that away, don't you see the inconsistency of the answer to where did the water go? If there was enough water to cover the entire planet, and we say, where did we go? The typical answer from most Christians is God miracled away the water because God can do anything. And then I ask, then what use the asteroid or the meteor? If he can miracle away the water, he can miracle onto the water. And it was described as rain, et cetera, and all that sort of stuff. I always find it fascinating when people believe these stories, but they need this physical element that they don't just say, well, just God miracled it. It sort of betrays their need for some piece of evidence that they don't have. I'm going to try throwing to Jim and see if he has any comments. I know he's been listening to Forrest. So Jim, what do you think? Maybe you can tell him to take it away, Forrest.
Yeah, Jim, it's on you.
Okay, so I'm going to kick this dead horse because I know, Forrest, you just killed the argument dead, but I'm going to kick it a couple of times. So first of all, let's talk about wave height and maximum wave height. Maximum wave height in deep water is limited to the energy in the wave. Once you come closer onto shore, it's limited by the depth. And so once you get a wave of any height into shallow water, you're limiting the height that can be. And so at some point, you have to, the wave has to come onto land, and at that point, it's got to fall apart. There's nothing to sustain it at that point. So there's not enough water in the ocean to sustain a wave height to cross Africa or to cross the Americas or to cross any major landmass. There's just not enough energy there to do that, nor is there enough water to do that. So to cover the entire world as the story is told doesn't make any sense just with the concept of a wave. And we're going to ignore the fact that this wave, this tsunami would have just sunk anything floating, any boat floating. And we know this because modern boats don't handle, we call them rogue waves, don't handle rogue waves very well. These steel ships get their hulls stove in. You can look rogue wave and ships online and go look at that. They don't survive now. Part of the problem, part of what happens is if the bow comes up and the wave moves under, eventually you may have too much weight and the spine of the ship may break. And so you'll get that, but you also get enough water pressure coming in to destroy, just punch holes in the sides of these ships too. So there is just simply no way from the physics of waves for the flood, for this explanation for the flood to happen. It's just simply not possible.
All right. So
there's also not a major break. There's also not a major break in the fossil record 5,000 years ago where we suddenly see like this distinction where every single animal is only reduced down to 2. And then there's like this huge issue where we have to get them back to where they're going to different parts of the world. And then they have to reproduce and repopulate that area of the world. There's more genetic diversity in chimpanzees than there is in humans. How does that make any sense if chimpanzees were reduced to 2 individuals and humans were reduced to 8 individuals? Steve, as always, please stop reading random shit on the internet and then calling these shows and using us the way you should be using Google. Just check and think about the things you're asking first before you waste our time with them.
Yeah, Steve, give you the last word. What are your thoughts on all the criticisms you just heard of the Noah's flood story and the meteor observation?
The Hebrew word Eretz does not, earth, can mean a global, large subcontinental area. So I've never claimed, the Bible never claims Noah's flood to be global. So you guys just totally missed the point. Totally
yeah, we did. You're right. I'm so sorry.
Does.
We're going to go back and read it again.
Eretz, earth doesn't mean. So you missed the entire point, but you're the end of the show. I'll let y'all go. Y'all have a happy New Year.
You too, Steve.
So even if we assume you're correct and it doesn't include the entire Earth, it still doesn't change the wave mechanics.
Yeah,
and if it didn't cover the entire Earth,
the-
why do you need a boat?
all you do is you sort of raise the perspective of
But,
every
yeah,
event
that
depicted in
doesn't
the
change
Bible
anything.
is in a tiny little area of the Middle East. Like I agree with Steve. The authors of the Bible were unaware of the existence of the rest of the earth. So that is the end of our show.
Just to be fucking goddamn it, dude. Just to be clear, God said, "The end of all flesh is come before me. The earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them in the earth. I will destroy man, whom I created from the face of the earth, both man, the beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air. For I repent that I have made them. I will bring floodwaters upon the earth. I will destroy all flesh wherein there is the breath of life, in form under heaven. Everything that is in the earth shall die." No, Steve, it doesn't say a small regional flood. It says the whole fucking earth. Everything on earth shall die that breathes. Every man, every woman, every child, every animal, every bird, every creeping thing on the whole planet. Even if you reduce it just down to humans, there were humans on the other side of the planet when Palestine was supposedly flooded by the monster you worship. Read your fucking book and use Google before you call us. God damn, dude, every single fucking time you call it some shit that you read online and you've never fucking thought about for more than 2 seconds. Google it and think about it, then call, or preferably don't.